Hey everybody. Happy Wednesday. There we go. Happy Wednesday. Um Josh and I wanted to go live again with everybody today. I just invited him, so I'm just waiting for him to come on. How's everybody's day going, if anybody's watching? Hang on one sec, let me see if I can get him. Hopefully he will be coming soon. Let me try again. I guess we're still waiting. Wait, there we go. Hang on. Got it. Okay. I think, there we go.
Hello.
Hey there. I thought it worked, but I think it was not working. How are you? Okay.
All right. How are you today?
What's new and exciting in New Jersey?
Not much. Can't
Yeah,
wait
I
for these
agree.
elections to be over. And
Yes, it has.
it's gotten crazy.
This world has gone crazy.
Yeah, I know that you really wanted to talk
we wanted to
about
talk about
anti-Semitism
anti-Semitism today because it's been on my heart, since the whole Kanye thing blew up a couple weeks ago. And I know we were going to talk last week and it just didn't work out. So I'm glad we can do it today.
Yeah, well, with the whole Kanye West thing, it's like I had talked in my post. There's a dual thing with that. There's a racist part aspect of it, or
Yeah,
anti-Semitic part of it, but there's also a
exactly.
mental
Yeah, no,
health
for
part
sure.
of it, you know, and I it's real difficult because a lot of people that a lot of well, I don't want to say a lot of people, individuals sometimes think just because you are a person of color, you can't be racist against another. And I think that in the news cycle, we have found that you can, and he and his actions have made that bigger, have amplified it, to an nth degree. But a lot of his behavior, it just is an out of
For
control
sure. For
mental
sure. I
health
mean, no sane
crisis.
person would do what he's doing. I mean, he obviously has serious mental issues and he definitely needs help. I'm assuming people are trying to help him, but I mean,
I I think that ever
mom.
since the loss of his mother, he hasn't really had something consistent. I think his marriage was for a long time, and he did well with it. But when that's falling apart, you could see that his mental health was falling apart. And I don't know that there's anyone checking him. I think he has a lot of, how you have celebrities with yes people around, but that's sort of, because they can be around you, they do whatever you want. And I unfortunately think because everybody's kind of pushing away from him because of what he's doing, he doesn't really have healthy people around him saying, you need help.
I think they probably are trying, but
so
I mean, until he's gonna admit that he needs the help or somebody's gonna be able to commit him, it's not gonna happen. And I just worry, I mean, like I'm sure it's not gonna end well, I mean, and that's terrible. He has 4 children,
it's not.
I mean, It's just horrible. And, somebody had told me about an article yesterday that was written in the New York Times. And the guy actually, at the end of the article, he actually was thanking him. And I was like, what do you mean he was thanking him? And I said, do you have the link to the article? Because I really want to read it. So I tried to find it yesterday, and I did finally find it. And I think the gist of it was what he was thanking him for was just, he's just brought attention to anti-Semitism again, because I mean, when Kanye speaks,
Mm-hmm.
it's like people listen, and it's just sad that it has taken the turn that it has. And this isn't a new problem. I mean, this is a problem that's been going on for a very, very long time. And it's sad that it took Kanye West to do this, to bring light to it again so that people are talking about it. You know, I mean,
Yeah, it's been something that it's been in the news, and
but it doesn't get
it
talked about as much, until somebody
it
like him, you know, major, yeah,
or happens and it stays in, but everything stays in the
they
news cycle as
or as
much
much
as
as they
our
want it to
attention
be in the
span
news
stays.
cycle. That's the thing, is things are so censored. It's horrible. I mean, you have to really go dig for the news that you want, like the Pakistan or the Iranian stuff, or even you don't see much about Ukraine anymore. You should literally go to world news to see it. It's not on the front page. you know
Yeah, yeah, and for me, it's I think where we are, we're in a
mm-hmm.
really bad
Definitely.
place right now. We're in a, and that was where my
Yeah.
frustration came in on Monday. It was
Oh, I totally
wake
felt you.
up
I mean, I
like,
feel the exact same way. I mean, and like you said today, I mean, I know you were relating it to grief, but difficult on top of difficult, It's like, it's hard on top of hard, and
yeah, it's you it,
yeah,
you have to open your eyes. If you don't open your eyes
right.
and you don't speak, we're in
Yes.
a really bad place
Yeah.
as a country, and if we talk, then it, you
Yeah,
know
of course. I mean, that's the
it's gonna
thing, is
get worse.
that, I mean, I'm glad we were
And,
able to speak about
and
this and put it out there, because it needs to be talked about. But in a way that, we don't
we
become centered for our opinion, because we're not trying to put out anything hateful here. It's just a matter of, you know, talking about it and make people aware.
well, we had a president that validated 4 years, and is still validating the against certain communities. One of the frustrating parts for me, as a Hispanic, you know, when I hear Hispanics supporting him, I get frustrated because he doesn't really care about our community, and very hateful speech against our community, and so eh, when Charlottesville happened, you know, I mean the ridiculousness that came out, and that hate festered. He allowed it to come to light. What was in darkness and what
Oh, I
was
know.
done quietly is
Oh, I know.
done loudly and people have no shame. They have no um
No.
filter. They
Mm-hmm.
they don't care, and this is the most
Oh, yeah.
dangerous
Well, you
times,
take
and
somebody like Kanye and he says what he says. I mean, you saw that on the news probably, that they were on the 405 doing the Nazi salute. Is just insaneness. And the crazy people will jump onto that, they will follow that. And that is just a horrendous thought.
and part is they would probably be in the they're doing the Nazi salutes, not recognizing that they would probably be
Right. And
in
that
the
too. I
concentration
mean, I
camps.
just read another article. A friend of ours gave it to us about a man who was in the Holocaust, and he had to go to court to prove he was in the Holocaust because they didn't believe him, even though he had the tattoo. He was, tattooed the number on him. There was pictures of him in the concentration camp. Insane that he had to go to those
Yeah.
extremes to prove that it happened. Nobody needs to prove it. It happened. And we're literally on the verge of it possibly happening again. This is the scariest thought ever.
A lot. That's why I taught, and I lost a lot when I. One of the first things that I did when I first started these these chats and prayers was I would, I guess,
Yeah.
get political, and I would say, we are already oppressed and marginalized.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to get worse. They are going to legally oppress and marginalize. They're going to make it, you know, I mean, this guy in the middle of a protest harmed protesters to hold up a Bible that he couldn't even hold upright. He didn't know whether it was, he didn't know how to hold it. He didn't know how to, and that, I don't want to say that it was all him, because again, he brought to
Yeah.
light what was in darkness. It was something, it was very, it
Right.
was, no one spoke about it, they, you know but he brought the danger with it. He has, and his followers have allowed for violence to be okay, for it to be, he's encouraged it, his followers encourage it. There's misinformation, there's recruitment, there's, and it's all based on anti-Semitism,
Mm-hmm.
immigration. You don't even know that
Right. Oh,
Puerto
I
Rico is
know.
part of the United
I
States,
know.
like, so
I'm,
it's, he that is the problem now. And
it is.
that is the scary part, is that because now it's to the light, it's in the forefront, people are not ashamed to talk about it. People are armed and ready to do harm, are ready to kill, are ready to do whatever. um that's why we need to speak up. That's why we need to not be afraid. We should have spoken up
Right.
even when it was in darkness, and I think we did, but it
Yeah.
wasn't we
Right.
it
Well,
wasn't
I mean,
strong
it's just
enough.
to the point now where, I just feel we have to do something. It's like we have to be able to speak about it, to say how we feel because, as a person who was born and I was raised Jewish, went to synagogue until we were 12 years old, when when we stopped going. But I mean, I'm still Jewish, that's who I am. You're Puerto Rican, that's who you are. I mean, it doesn't matter who you are or what religion you are, what color you are. Nobody should be discriminated against because of that. Never.
But that's been
I
one of the
know.
biggest problems of this country. And out of the big experiment is every single, I'm talking about every single person who has come to this
Yeah.
country for the first time has been against. When um the people from Ireland came, they were looked down upon. When the people from Italy came, they were looked down upon. when the people from
Well, yeah.
Poland came, they were looked down upon, and so it's we have this bad, I don't know what to call it, but in this country, we have a tendency, if we can oppress or
Hmm.
marginalize a community or a people, we will, and when it comes to the Jewish community, it's just something that keeps
Exactly.
circling around. You know, you know, the Jewish community is hit, everybody comes together,
And then it gets
everything
back under the
seems
rug again.
okay,
Yeah. Then you don't hear about it for a while.
right? You
Yeah.
know, right, and it's a lot of
Hmm.
misinformation, you know, with these groups, these, like Kanye West has these, I guess, a group of people that are doing this,
Yeah.
that have misinformation. They're reading, they're
Mm-mm.
not reading the
No.
right things. And any Christian, anyone who's a Christian should know,
Yeah.
like I said the last time, I, oh, Jesus died on that cross. When he died on that cross, he didn't die a Christian. He died, he died
Yeah.
as
I
he was
know.
still
I mean,
Jewish.
I just think it's, like I said, I've been doing this book club with the church and the synagogue together, on Wednesday nights. And the book right now is, God, what is it? Um, A Rabbi Talks with Jesus. That's the book. Very interesting. But I
Oh,
mean, it's just
okay.
amazing how, we can all come together and we can all share different perspectives from different religions, and everybody can get along and not judge. And it's a beautiful thing. I think it's amazing.
It is, and I think that that's where, a lot of people sort of come down on me, or on any spiritual leader that says, it doesn't matter what faith you are, or even if you're an atheist,
You're good.
with
Yeah, well, and
me,
that's like with the
you're
Lectico I go
welcome.
to on Tuesdays. I mean, they've welcomed me with open arms. In fact, it was the lady yesterday who told me about the article, about the article that was written in the Times.
And it's a lot of the Christian spiritual leaders who would stand. It reminds me of, I forgot what event happened, but it was a lot of spiritual leaders that stood in the front line of, something. It was, I don't know if it was in Israel or something, but a line of spiritual leaders, of rabbis, and all kinds of leaders, and they stood in front of those that were going to get hurt, you know and i I know a lot of my friends would stand and get hurt to protect
Yeah.
any of our Jewish friends. We would give ourselves to do that.
Well, we
um
should all be standing for each other,
and we
you know? It shouldn't matter.
but it, that's the thing, is we should, but some of us don't have
Yeah.
that voice. Like, I have a friend, lover. She's, unfortunately, she was called to another state, though she's not far. But he I went with her to go speak, and it was three of us. I didn't know the other pastor, so it was her, myself, and another pastor, and I was the only one with a doctorate, so I would be Reverend Doctor, so and so. And the pastor on my left treated me as though I wasn't even there, as though anything that I said or would say was, I said it um, like I didn't have intelligence. And so, I we were in front of teenagers. We were speaking to teenagers, and my friend picked up on it. Um, and she handled the situation. Sometimes we need others
Exactly.
to speak on our behalf because we're in a space that we're not able to. And that's where we have
Exactly.
allies.
Yeah,
That's what
for
allies
sure.
are about, you know, about bringing people with us that have the ability to do stuff that are not, that we're not able to do for ourselves. They're able to open doors
Yeah.
that we're not able to open for ourselves. Like I say to her, she can say anything and get like a
Because
million likes, like a million likes, a million
people just listen to
comments, and a
her.
million.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I could say the same exact
Right.
thing and get like
Yeah.
one
Crazy,
like,
isn't it?
you know.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and I told her, I said I get a
Yeah.
kick out of it. I really do. I get a kick out of it that
Yeah.
we could say the same exact thing. You'll get
Yeah.
like a million likes, and I'll get one.
But that doesn't mean
Yeah.
people aren't still listening, you know?
Um. Well, it's it. What it is it. My, and I always share it. My degrees are not worth the same value as someone who is of a different culture. This, I'm just gonna say it right out, white. um, my degree
Yeah.
isn't the
I
same value
know. It's
as
sad.
theirs.
I mean, it is. Shouldn't be like that.
And so it's right. So it's just, again, like this, the president that we had brought all these things that were in the dark, brought them to the light, and now here we have, because Kanye West took a lot of his sort of guidance from
Hmm.
the president, and so we have this young black artist
Yes.
with mental health issues,
Yep.
totally and completely lost, you know, and we we would hope and pray that there
I
are
hope so.
people that are guiding him,
The right people. Yeah.
you know.
I mean, I know,
Yeah,
she tried to get him, Kim tried to get him
yeah,
help, at one point, and obviously, it didn't work out. He didn't want it. He decided against it, but I don't know. I mean, I really hope, he can, I really hope he can get the help he needs because, I mean, that what he's done is horrible. But you're right. I mean, that is not a sane person that's doing that. There's no way. I mean, and he's very, I mean, it's not, and he's a very intelligent person, he's a very creative person, you know, and it's just sad because could be doing so much good with that.
yeah. And and
Mm-hmm.
it shakes communities. It
Yeah.
shakes, you know, it, but it like I was thinking about today in our conversation today, and it reminded me of an experience my son had, you know, because when do you start the conversation? We're having the
Right.
conversation now, but we're two adults, right? Having two experiences. but we have the privilege of having, you're able to talk about anti-Semitic experiences or through those lenses, and I'm able
Right.
to speak through my lenses. My son, when he was a freshman in high
Wow.
school, he was 12. Yeah, he was 12. We had an Orthodox Jewish seminary in my town. All right. And so it was on his route home, and he had his backpack, he was holding it with one hand, and he was playing Superman with the other one. He was
Yeah.
going, back and forth
Yeah.
on his way home.
Right.
He's a 12-year-old. He was doing it with one hand,
Yeah.
doing Superman. So just imagine
Oh,
he's doing,
yeah.
his hand is like
Mm-hmm.
this. Okay? My son doesn't
Right.
know any better.
Right.
He's,
Right.
you know, and so he has his
Yeah.
backpack and he's Superman, and he to one of the children of that live with their
Right.
parents in the seminary, and the
Oh
kid
my
spit in his
God.
shoes. And so my son ran home and he was crying, he was mad,
Yeah.
telling me the experience. So I sat down with him and I said, "Tell me exactly what happened." So he did, and
Mm-hmm.
just like I shared with you. So I explained to him about, well,
Mm-hmm.
that's a Nazi salute. And, I explained to him about what happened. And I said, you know, to him, that is probably the worst thing
Right.
that he could see, and the most
Yeah.
painful thing that he can see, and so that was what he was
Right.
seeing through his lenses,
Yeah.
you know. So I was able to have
Yeah.
that conversation with my
Yeah.
son
That's
at 12
that's
because
horrible
of
that
the
he had to have an
experience he had.
experience for that to happen, like that to happen, you know? It's just that's terrible.
But we need to think
How you
about,
react, how people react, first of all, you know?
react, but before people
That
react,
too.
when do we
Well,
have those
yeah. I mean,
conversations
well,
with
I mean, I
children?
think it is being taught in school, right? I mean, some school.
It's fine, and it's taught in schools, but you know, when do you sit with your kids or children and really have conversations? Like I had to teach my son, put your hands on the steering wheel, have your documentation
Mm-hmm.
on your visor, you
Oh, I
know,
know.
do not move, do not move.
I
Like
know.
I
It's
had to teach my
horrible.
son those things. And so, when do you have those conversations? And that is what's important. Yes, it gets
Well,
taught in
yeah.
school. Well,
I,
that doesn't get taught
but
in
yeah, but
school.
it has to come from the
But the other
home
stuff
too.
gets,
I mean, first, you know,
it's very
for
important
sure.
to have those discussions and to have a diverse, to have my adopted mom. She's so funny. Um, her- you know, I sort of got mad at her for a little bit because my first experience with racism was horrendous. I mean, it was just
Mm,
absolutely
so
horrendous. I wasn't prepared.
yeah,
I wasn't
yeah,
prepared for it. I wasn't, because she basically raised me. She's white, and she raised me with. I mean, her
right.
friends come from all over, you know, and so I I didn't understand what it was. And so having that diversity and
Yeah.
conversation is really important. I have a diverse set of friends, but we talk about everything.
Yeah, me too.
We're
I'm
all
totally
open
open.
books. Yeah, and even my friend Will,
Yeah.
he's learning a lot of new stuff. Like he has a lot of questions, and I tell him, don't ever be
Yeah.
afraid to ask me. Because I'd rather you ask me than assume something
Yeah. No, I
and
love
get
that.
yourself in trouble. You know, and that's
Yeah.
where it really starts. You know, we need to not be afraid to have a conversation.
Well, that's why we're
You
doing
know,
this today too, to put it out there. I mean, two people from two totally different backgrounds and ethnicities and religions, and we can get along and talk about things.
and I think that there's probably, for those that are not familiar with the Jewish community, there's probably a lot
Yeah.
of questions as well. You and I think that that's something that those individuals need um
Yeah.
to not be afraid to ask. You know, like, the Jewish community is quite different
Hmm.
than most communities, because there's your
Hmm.
ethnicity, right? You you're, so my understanding is you're
Right.
Jewish, right? And Jewish is, um what was it's there's
Yeah.
the culture Jewish, right? And then
Right.
there's
Yeah.
religion.
Race and religion. Yeah.
So they're,
Yeah.
they're two
Yeah.
separate
Yeah. I think
things,
so.
aren't they?
I mean, I know, I mean, both my parents were Jewish. I think I'm full Ashkenazi Jewish. I think it is. My daughter does all that stuff. You know, she likes to do
What
all
is
that.
it?
Ashkenazi
What
Jew.
is it?
Yeah. Yeah, it gets kind of complicated, but yeah, she's done all
I
that stuff because yeah, she thinks that she loves that stuff. So, but I mean, even though I've had my issues with, Judaism, just with the community, you know what I mean? I still am Jewish, and I'm proud to say that, I mean, this were my people, I mean, my grandparents, my family, they came you know, from Russia and from Germany, and they came here for a better life. They weren't in the Holocaust, because they came here. But, my grandfather was in World War,
hmm,
I mean, he fought. So,
that's great. I the irony for me is, so your
yeah.
family was here, right? And are here, and I have my cousins from my mom's side from Puerto Rico. All my cousins um that live
Oh,
there
really?
have moved to Israel.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my cousins
Wow.
are in Israel, and Will is watching. We were talking about
Yay.
you, Will.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. Well, I'm just glad we were able to have this conversation. And, just whoever's watching or watches this, I mean, if something that you feel passionate about or don't agree with, speak up. Use your voice and ask
Well,
questions. Yes,
mostly
and don't
ask
assume. And don't
questions.
assume.
Ask,
That's the
que-
thing.
ask.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, really, honestly, ask the questions. I think that that is the
for
most
sure.
important part of thing,
No,
is
I'm
not to
always
be
willing
afraid
to.
to
I'm an
ask.
open book. Ask me anything. I'll try to answer. If I can, I'll try to find an answer. I think you're kind of the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am the same way.
You'll
And if I
find it.
don't know an answer, I will
Yeah.
I will find it.
Hey, Will.
Yeah. I it's funny because I was thinking about you yeah, again for this thing, because I told you I have let me see if I can get to them. They've been like popping.
Oh, no.
I just broke something. I'm sitting there
Oh,
trying to get
no. I hope
something. I
it's
broke
fixable.
something. It's
Oh,
better be.
God.
It's over 100
Maybe you
years
should put me
old.
down so you can get it.
It's just it's in a drawer and not really different.
Oh, no. Be
Oh,
careful.
I just broke something else. Wait a minute.
It's all right.
My room is a mess. All right. See,
Oh, look at
I
that.
wasn't joking.
Oh, is that Hebrew? What does it say? It's backwards. Well, I'm saying it backwards.
it's it's my biblical
Oh,
Hebrew
cool. So
vocabulary
let me
words.
ask you this. Do you know what chutzpah is? Do you know what chutzpah is? Yeah.
Chutzpah? Yeah, that means like you got. Oh, I see what broke.
Oh, no.
That thing
I
is
hope
like
it's
100
fixable.
years old. You know, I don't know if I told you,
Oh,
but I was in a
no.
wheelchair for 2
Oh, you
years.
didn't?
Yeah, so yeah, I got so sick
Oh,
that I was in a
no.
wheelchair for 2 years. Yeah. And so I have a
Oh.
walker over there, and I have
Oh, well, that's all
and I
right, as
have a
long as it
cane
helps.
like
Oh, good.
next to my bed. So anyway,
Oh,
yeah,
anyway,
chutzpah.
so
I
yeah,
know what
so
chutzpah
they
is.
were doing this sermon
But
on Sunday at the church, and I was watching it. They were talking about, she was talking about chutzpah, but she kept calling it chutzpah. And I kept going like, no, chutzpah, chutzpah, because
oh,
actually they were talking about the tax collector. What's his name? The guy in the Bible. What's his name? Who's the tax collector? Hebed. What is his name?
Jude,
No, no, no.
not
They're talking about the
Judas.
story. He was in the tree and he was watching Jesus come from the
Oh,
tree, and they were
come
like,
down from the
and they were talking
tree.
about how he had
Yeah,
chutzpah, you know. And I was like, yes. And the
yeah,
interesting
yeah.
thing is that somebody told me that. They're like, you have chutzpah, you know? And it was actually the lady that runs
Yeah.
the Stephen Minister program, who is where I met that my friend Jonna, the one I have you praying for. She's the like Stephen Minister lady. And it was just so odd
Yeah,
how it was like, it all just kind of circled in together, you know? But that made me think when you said
yeah, yeah.
Jewish words. I think it's more of a Yiddish term or
So
something like that. So,
the only word that I use a
oh,
lot
what's
is
that one? I don't know.
ruach,
Oh, breath. Okay.
breath. It, it's what God
Okay.
gave Adam.
Cool.
Ruach. Uh, so yeah, I
Okay.
use that
But
word
Will
a
was
lot.
saying, Will's giving us comments. Can you see it?
Well, I
Can you
have,
see the comments?
huh?
Oh, you can't. Okay. Yeah.
No.
Will's watching us. I was like, hey, Will. He said, I was his designated pusher at
Yeah, I
family
was.
events. That's what he said.
He was yeah.
Well, I was hoping we'd have more people watch us on Facebook, but I'm glad Will joined us. I hope we can get this
Well,
over
I hope
to
I'm gonna be
Instagram. Mm-hmm.
on Instagram. I'm not sure if we're
Okay, well, I'm gonna
gonna
try.
be able to do that. Or well,
Yes, well, I know we can get
it's
it
on
to
your
your page.
page,
That's
right?
not a
So,
problem.
uh,
It's just we've got to get it over to Instagram.
but if if we can't,
Okay,
I
well
will
maybe we
be
can do
on
it again.
Instagram
Yeah.
tomorrow. So
Okay.
right.
You want to give us
Uh,
a prayer? And
so
and by the
all
way,
right.
Jonna
So
is home, so that's a good thing. She's out of the hospital. Mm-hmm. So
oh,
maybe we can just
great,
continue
great.
praying
Thanks.
for just good
Okay.
health and recovery.
Okay. Good. I just
Yeah.
want to remind people of the three goals. We got to continue with the three goals, and part of the goals could be praying
Yeah.
for, someone or a situation. So,
Yeah.
that can be part of it. So just three goals. It's always to improve yourself, and to be your best
Mm-hmm.
self and most authentic self. And I remind everybody that if no one's told you today they love
I
you,
love you.
I do.
Well, I'm sending love always.
Sending love all out, and let's go into prayer. Everlasting God, we give you thanks for all opportunities, for all walks, and for all the paths that you give to us. We ask this day uh, for guidance, for wisdom, and for knowledge to be able to reach people that might have questions, that might be questioning things in their minds, might be led the wrong way, might be listening to people with hate in their heart, or who in some way, somehow, are struggling with mental illness, that they may find the help that they need. Gracious God, we know that anything is possible, and that one person or two people or three people gathered, we can do so much. And so we ask that you continue to give us the strength to be able to continue doing what we're doing. We ask this in your glorious
Amen.
name. Amen.
Well, I'm glad we got to
All
do
right.
it, and I'll go
All
try
right.
and see if we can share it. Have a good day. Bye, Will.
All right. And
Okay.
share it.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. Okay,
Bye,
bye.
Will.
Yeah,
So if you can't do it for
okay. I'll let you
Instagram,
know.
I'll
Okay,
be on
bye.
tomorrow. All right.
Thanks.